What's going on, gamers? Got a little two-part unboxing video for y'all today. I bought the cheapest SMD rework station hot plate thing, whatever you want to call it. This was the absolute cheapest one I could find on Amazon, AliExpress, basically cheapest one you can get brand new. Straight out of the box. And this is it's going to be a two-part video, so we're going to look at this and then we're going to look at the XGecu T76. We're going to tear into that a little bit, but the reason why I wanted to make this video is if anybody's looking to get into like reflow or reballing, BGA work, you know, SMD, like micro device repair, and you want a decent, I'm not going to say it's great, I already have a lot of hot plates. I mean, you guys, if you've seen the last video, and I apologize for the sound, sound cut out when I went into the pictures because I didn't have my audio device set up correctly. But anyway, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 4 hot plates here right now. So I'm not a noob to having like rework stations or hot plates or whatever you want to call them. But I'm not a professional by any means. But Amazon had their Prime Day and I saw a couple sales on there, but then right after that AliExpress had their like summer sale or whatever it is, and I saw a really good deal I couldn't pass up, so I wanted to share it with you guys. And yeah, so if you're interested, you can pick one up yourself. They do ship out of the US. So yeah, so this is, now there's a few caveats, okay? So we're gonna get into everything. I'm just gonna try to make this as brief as possible. So what is it? It's a hot air station. It's a hot air rework station. What is the brand? There's no branding on it anywhere. Well, in China, the factories that manufacture these, they do like after hours sales or whatever, or after hours production. So they may make this for a company or a couple companies. So for example, this one, the brand that you'll most commonly see is Yihua or Hiwa, however you want to pronounce it. And that's actually a decently reputable brand. I have a couple of their pieces of soldering equipment. And so that's like their brand name. Obviously this has no branding whatsoever. So what I think this is not one of the units that like fell off the back of a truck, but it's just an unbranded factory unit. So this is the same for the most part. They may have skimped a little bit on certain aspects of the build quality. I looked over this myself. I'm satisfied. I actually think this one's built pretty decent, but we're going to get into all the caveats. So this cost me, and I'll just show you guys real quick on screen. So this was $59.11. I actually got it cheaper than that. So mine, I think at the time was like $60, but there was a $7 off coupon off orders of $59 or more. Now I'm on the web page here, or this is a screenshot of the web page, but I went and got it from my phone. So if you shop using your phone, it should come up with the coupon. I believe it's still there, but it's $7 off, $59 or more. So anyway, so I paid roughly 53 something. Here, let me check real quick. All right, so including tax and shipping and everything, it was $57.72. So I paid $57.72 for this, just the bottom unit, not this top section. I'll explain that later. But for the hot plate itself, it was $57. That included tax and shipping, which is an excellent deal. They do ship out of the US, so this was shipped out of Georgia. Even though I bought it on AliExpress, they have a lot more warehouses here in the US now, so they're shipping directly out of those warehouses. So it took about 2 days, 3 days to get to me from Georgia, and it came damaged. So the box, I have the box behind me here. The box looked perfectly fine, except for one edge was a little bit wrinkled, but it's a really heavy duty box, and somebody must have really dropped this thing, because when I got it, it was completely destroyed. So you can kind of see here, there's some remnants of it, but yeah, the front here is kind of bent. I bent back most of the metal, but yeah, the front's bent. And then if you look at the underside, you'll see I did a little bit of hammering. You can't really tell now, but I'll show you the pictures that I took when I first got this out of the box. I was so upset. I was like, man, are you kidding me? Came from Georgia, and that's the thing, and it was packed pretty well too. The package, like, it uses a double insulated cardboard box. It uses that black kind of spongy foam, and I mean, it was not the thickest foam, but it was definitely enough to protect it. But obviously, you know, the sheet metal's a little bit thin, so don't expect the best build quality. But what I wanted to say with this is, so if you buy on AliExpress, this is the cheapest, the absolute cheapest unit. The second cheapest, or like the normal price units, these are like 140 bucks minus this still. So you're looking at either spending 60 bucks all in with shipping and everything, or you're going to be spending roughly, you know, 130, 140, maybe $150 for the same exact thing. The only difference being, you know, maybe the Yihua branding on the front. Who knows? You might not even get that. So anyway, so that's that. And let me just show you real quick. So let me just scroll down. So this is how it arrived. You can see the hot plate is completely bent to the side. It's supposed to be lined up with that square hole there. And this is the corner, so you can see the side got completely bent in. It bent the metal. And then this is the bottom, so you can't, it's really hard to see, but there's like these metal posts, and they're completely bent to the side, and you can see how the screws are all bent to the side. So that's basically how it arrived to me. So it was just rattling around like that. Now, you know, even though it's AliExpress, it's going to be a little harder for like customer support or whatnot, but because the warehouse is here in Georgia, I'm sure it would be easy enough to return. There was one other review, and of course it was another one that was shipped in the US. Now this was shipped via USPS. Okay, so it arrived via USPS, which is not the best. And it was like in a plastic bag. I think if it was just in the cardboard box and it said fragile on the box, they would actually taken better care of it. But because it's in, you know, AliExpress packaging with just a black plastic bag over it, you know, they're gonna kick it around. They don't give a crap about it. But if it's actually in a box, you know, and it says fragile or whatever, I think it would have arrived a little bit safer. But anyway, I forget what I was going to say about that. But yeah, I mean, you can still, you know, if you receive a defective unit, obviously you can return it to AliExpress. But I decided I didn't want to go through the hassle of doing all that. So I just bent the metal. I took it apart, took a hammer to it, got it, you know, straightened up, perfect. Everything's fine. I can stand this little dent on the side. It's annoying to look at because I like to keep my things nice. But that's fine, whatever. The price I paid for it, I'm more than happy to have this. What does it do? So you take circuit boards like this. You can see here. You take your circuit boards, and you basically clamp them in. Oops, do this. All right, clamp them in nice and tight, and then you take your hot air gun. So something like this. I don't know if you guys can see that. So your hot air gun, and pop it in the hole here, and it reflows the chip for you. So you can remove any size chips, whatever, large, small. If you're doing small chips, you want to do them by hand, but you can still swing this out of the way and you can remove them by hand. But I just wanted something that has like a vise, something that can hold the PCB and keep it from flexing, because there are components on the underside, these capacitors here and whatnot. So the hot plate that I have underneath me right now, that's underneath this mat here, I'll show you guys real quick. So there's that hot plate down there. Well, when you put a PCB on there, it doesn't sit flush. there's nothing keeping it from warping or whatever. And so I wanted something that's a little more professional. And then also, I'm using a mic stand right now to hold the heat gun over the hot plate. I mean, it works. It gets the job done. It's ghetto, but it works. But I wanted something more portable, something a little more compact and more professional and a little bit easier to use. So that is why I got this. But yeah, so it's going to do the job. 60 bucks. I mean, this is the cheapest. I looked on Amazon. So the cheapest ones you can get on Amazon shipped to you, they start at like $90. And then there are some other ones that are not Prime shipping. They're just like regular shipping. And they're like around the $60 price, but then they want an extra $20 or $30 for shipping. So this is like the absolute cheapest unit you can get. Now this is the, this is the 853A. Sorry, I hit a key on my keyboard and I tried telling it to, I guess, delete one of my video sources. Anyway, so this is the 853A. A stands for analog, okay? Because you got this little analog dial here. So you have a little red button here that goes from actual temperature to set temperature. So you can set it to whatever you want, like almost 140. And then that is the actual temperature. So it shows it heating up. You can see the temperature climbing. And if we pop this, give me just 1 second here. All right. So we can see here, you can see the element heating up. It's decent. It works pretty good. It's got nice even heat. I tested, now this this Windows app here doesn't have, or at least I don't have it set up to show temperature, but, I mean, it's pretty even. You can see the bottom here, it gets hotter than the top, by a few degrees. But when I measured it compared to the temperature on the screen there, it was pretty accurate. So, there was one person, I guess, that said, "Oh, it's like 50 degrees off or whatever." Not this unit. This unit's fine. So I haven't had any issues with it whatsoever. So, but yeah, the build quality on the inside is decent. All the wires are wrapped in like a fiberglass sheathing here, or fiberglass whatever. There's not really much going on inside. There's a little transformer in the back. There's another transformer in the front for the electronics. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's basically just, I mean, it's kind of heavy still. You know, for what it is, it's got a lot of mass in it. That's probably one of the reasons why it got so destroyed, even though the box took a tiny little tumble. But anyway, this section right here. So my unit, you can see, obviously has this part. So what is that? So let's go back into pictures real quick, and I think it's image 4 or 5 right here. All right, so this is the Disanyuk, right there on the top. You can see it. You can't see my mouse, but it says the Yihua 852, 853, AAA, blah, 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 universal bracket for Psyche 909D, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, that was $8. So between that and this unit here, all in, I want to say it was like, what is it? 57, 67. So it was like almost $70 for this and that. The cheapest unit I found that actually came with both of these was still like, it was like $100. So, yeah, so that's basically it. It is a no-name, brand unit, but it does ship out of the US. It does ship out of Georgia. If you decide to buy one, it will arrive via USPS. If it comes damaged, I mean, you can do what I did and just fix it yourself, because the price is just so cheap. Now, granted, the one that's underneath here is a similar price, but you don't get any of this stuff. The element is different, obviously, but you don't get any of this other, like this jig. You can get arms too that protrude, that kind of hold the PCB and keep it from flexing from the heat. And you can't do that with any of the other units. I had to drill holes into mine, and I actually drilled through one of the heating elements because I was a dummy and I didn't look to see where my screw holes were going. It still works just fine, but it's just not as powerful as it was before. But yeah, so this is the Yihua, whatever, no name heater. So not bad, decent unit. And let's get into the second half of the video. All right, now on to part 2 of the video. And let's see. So this is the XGecu T76 programmer. What is an XGecu T76? It is a multi-use programmer that you can use to program NAND flash, like SPI devices. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, BIOS chips, whatever. I mean, there's so many uses for it. But basically, you can dump ROMs, dump memory. Say somebody has like a USB flash drive or something like that died, and or like the controller died on it, or you have an SSD and your controller died on it, and you need to recover that person's files. Well, you can use the T76 to basically recover those files, and it pretty much comes with everything you need. Now, there are a bunch of adapters for each different type of chip, and there's like a whole crap load of different chips. So for example, we have a reball stencil here, and you can see, so this says NAND 1 right there, NAND 1, and this is from MOE, the same company that makes I got it over here. So this is from MOE, same company that makes this little thing here. Whoops, not what I meant to do. But yeah, so it makes this they make this little reballing jig here with those crazy powerful magnets. But yeah, so this is a reballing stencil, and it has a bunch of different profiles for different NAND flash, hence the NAND 1. So we have and the different chips are labeled by their ball count. So these are all BGA chips. So we have BGA 199, BGA 130, 149, 67, 202, 182, 137, 63, 127, 134, 95, and 107. So I have a GH5. It's a Panasonic GH5 camera behind me that I believe has a semi-bricked firmware. It's not fully bricked, it turns on, but it doesn't do everything that it's supposed to do. And these are the little NAND flash chips that are in Panasonic cameras. So the one you're seeing me through in the front here, the face cam, that's a G85. The one up above me, the overhead cam, that's a G7. I fixed both of these. But this is the NAND flash that you would see in like a G85 or a G7 or a GH5, that kind of era. But yeah, so this one, obviously right to the right here, this is the BJ67. And if I line these up real quick. Oh, this one still has balls on it, so I'm not sure if I can do it easily. There we go. So you can kind of make out there, I don't know if you can see it or not, but the chip lines up with the grid and you can see all the balls sticking through. There we go. So that's basically what this does, is it allows you to reball or put all the tiny little balls on the underside of the chip there. And then what this does, the XGecu, is it allows you to program those chips. So you can dump the firmware, you can read it and see if there's any corruption or whatever in the firmware files, and then you can reload the firmware to the chip and then reinstall the chip in the device. And you can use this for anything. You can use it for, like, you know, PS4, PS5, Xbox One. You can use it for laptops. You can use it for cameras. anything that has any kind of ROM or NAND flash or any kind of memory that needs to be read, non-volatile memory, it can do that. So so real quick, I'll just show you. So this is Chrome. So here's the listing for it. This is where I bought it. I actually bought it through XGecu, and you can see this is the T76. So I paid, it was $140 for the device itself. And then if we go to the cart here, you can see we got the T76, and the T76 programmer, or the adapter, supports BGA 45 or 48, 63, and 67. And then we have the T76 programmer itself. So that is pretty much that. So yeah, so let's take it apart. So this just arrived today in the mail, and it's just a, you know, pretty nondescript box. It just has the basics on there. And so it's got website right there. Please use the original USB cable. So I think it's USB 3.0 high speed. So we have the programmer here. We have our adapter set right there. Styrofoam, just for good measure. And then we have a USB cable. So let's put this away real quick. All right, so let's just look at the cable first real quick, because this will be super easy and brief. So yeah, it is USB-C. So I assume, yeah, it is USB 3.0. So USB-C 3.0. And then we'll take a look at the adapter here real quick. Let's see if I can get this open easily. All right, so we have some frames here. Look, that's for our different types of chips. And then there is our little adapter. So we just pull this foam out real quick. Make sure none of the pins are bent. I saw the only video, there was only one video on this programmer that I found on YouTube. And the guy had a bent pin he had to resolder on his adapter. But it looks like mine has arrived in perfect condition. So that's good. But yeah, so you basically open this up. I think pull it down, we push it up. Yeah, we push it up. So you push it up and you have a bunch of little, it's kind of hard to see, but there's a bunch of little pogo pins in there. Sorry, I don't have my microscope on. And then there's a little notch that indicates pin 1, and you basically align that with the dot. Oops, the dot for pin 1. Oh, that's 48. Okay, so that's the wrong frame. That's for BGA 48. Let's see here. It looks like we got a couple more options here. So this is 63. It's another BGA 48. So it looks like we got two of the BGA 48s. This is a BGA 63. And another BGA 48. That's weird. So we got 3 BGA 48s. Oh, they're different pin pitch. That's what it is. That's strange. I don't know. It says, so the so the one on the left says 6.15 by 8.15, and then the one on the right says 6.5 by 8, and then the one in the middle says 6 by 8. So I assume, yeah, I can't fit, right? I can barely fit it. This is 63, but that doesn't fit, obviously. So I'm not sure. Maybe they didn't have a 67. I don't know, because none of these fit. Or maybe... Okay, it fits this one. So it must be mislabeled. So it says BGA 48 here, but obviously it fits. So this is the 6.5 by 8. Okay, so yeah, just a little bit of, I don't know, jankiness. I guess it is what it is. But so it does fit. It will fit these chips, but it will not fit in the one that's currently in there. But yeah, so essentially you load your chip inside. It's spring loaded. It makes pressure on the top of the chip and then pushes it into those pogo pins, and then you just lock it down. And then here is the programmer. Open this up real quick, and this is the brains of the operation right here. So this is the XGecu Pro T76. It's got a little hook here on the side for the socket. I don't know how many pins that is. That's a lot of pins. This is not like your normal dip socket. This is like a modified version of a dip socket. And then there's also a header right here on the front, and this header is also for programming as well. So some sockets will require you to place the adapter inside. So here, we'll go ahead and do it now. So some sockets, just make sure I can get it in here. Man, they don't make it easy, do they? Okay. There we go. So it's a little difficult to get installed, but there is the caddy or the adapter on top of the programmer itself. And then again, just pull up to flip open. But yeah, so that's your chip reader there. You have two different lights on the front. You have power and run. So if it's actively reading a card, it's also got a DC supply. So you can either power it off USB or you can power it off a DC supply. And then like I was saying, so this header here on the front, sometimes depending on the adapter and how many pins are on the chip, the header will come off and wrap around and plug into the adapter, and it will require both. So it'll need to be plugged in here, and then it'll also need to be wrapped around. Now, one of the cool things about the XGecu is that it automatically detects what kind of chip is inside it. Not completely, I don't think, but I know to a small extent. Like, it's not gonna burn out a chip just because you plugged it in. It has like sensing pins or whatever, so it'll detect whether or not it'll like detect the signaling level, it'll detect the power and whatnot. And then yeah, there's a couple security stickers there on the side, so we have one on either side. I will be taking this apart. I know XGecu probably will see this and be a little upset, but I take everything apart. I don't leave anything unmolested. So if it comes across my desk, it gets taken apart. And yeah, so eventually I'll take this apart. But yeah, so basically you go on the website, you download the software, you plug this into your computer, and you load your chip up, and then you can read your firmware, and then load new firmware to it, whatever, solder it to the device, and you should be good to go. So if you ever have like a motherboard or anything with bricked firmware, now there are cheaper versions. So I think it started out with the TL866, I think it was the original for the XGecu, and then it went to the T48, T56, and then the T76, I think it was. But this is like a cheap version of a programmer. So this is the CH341A mini programmer, and essentially this is like a super basic version of the XGecu. So you can plug in your stop or whatever they are, the pin package, flash chips or whatever, or BIOS chips. And then it also comes with I don't know if it's TTL or whatever the hell it is, but it's a 1.8 volt adapter. So I believe this is 3.3 volts. It looks like it also has some sort of, I forget what you call it. Can't think of the name of it now. It's like what you used to do to old Xboxes and whatnot. anyway, I can't think of the name right now, but it's got a bunch of pin headers on it, kind of like this, and a bunch of adapters too. So this is a voltage converter, so it adapts to 1.8 volts, so you don't blow out your chip when you're going to reprogram it. And then like for your motherboards, if you want to do in circuit, so this is this uses a thing called chip off. So it's like chip off repair, or chip off reprogramming, or chip off data recovery. It means the chip gets removed, so it's chip off. But there are certain applications where you can do chip on, and the chip can be on, you know, on whatever board it is that you're working on, and you can get little adapters like these that clamp on to whatever the chip is. And this is like a basic version of that you would use for like a BIOS chip. It only has 8 pins. These can be a little finicky and kind of hard to get on. But yeah, you can basically, you know, if your soldering skills aren't that good and you have a motherboard and you fried your BIOS, you can plug this in and essentially clip this onto the BIOS chip and reprogram it without having to remove it and go through all that hassle. So, but anyway, guys, so yeah, that's it for the video. Just had the Yihua thing. Got a couple other little tools too. I got some chip tweezers, some other ones that these are for, they call it tin planting or reballing. So essentially they're angled. They got like a steep angle like that, so you can put pressure on the like on the stencil here. So say I'm reballing this chip here, I can take Kapton tape the chip to the bottom of it, put some solder paste inside, and then I can use this to hold the stencil on top while I reflow the balls onto the bottom of the chip. So, but yeah, just another tool in the toolbox. So anyway, guys, I'll catch you later. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.